we are.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it is. We are not murderers and rapists, Bernie. Thankfully, that's a very small sliver of the population. This is not who we are. Stop being murderers and rapists. No, it is, Bernie. Murderers, rapists, felons in prison don't get to vote, bud. Joe, has he thought through the potential conundrum that may be here? If prisoners can vote, prisoners, by the way, who largely have to change their residency requirements because they're in prison and are all populated in one specific area, say they're in a prison in Western Maryland, an area I know Joe's familiar with, which is populated with prisons, you would have a bunch of prisoners, some who didn't even grow up there, who are in jail who can vote on the local policies impacting their own sentencing and elsewhere.
Yep.
Oh, isn't that a great idea? By the way, a lot of these prisons are concentrated in minority communities. How does that make you feel? Don't worry, folks, in minority communities. The Democrats are in it for you. They want people transplanted into your communities in prison, murderers and rapists, to be able to vote in your community. Good job. Well done, Democrats. Way to be in it for the little guy. Oh, my gosh. The knucklehead. Where's Isabel? I wanted Isabel to do a guest appearance. Is she not there? Come on, Isabel. The audience has never seen you. They don't even know what you look like. They loved Amelia's appearance. But plus, she was just asking me for an opportunity to be on the show.
Huh.
All right. If she winds up showing up, Paul, I'll tell her she's welcome on anytime. All right. Final ad today. Another great company. My Patriot Supply. I am not only a podcast host which reads ads for My Patriot Supply. I am also a consumer. I have lots of their products. They are terrific products. You have to be prepared, folks. Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you install antivirus software? You place smoke detectors in your house, right? You sign a marriage prenup. That's interesting. You sign a marriage prenup. Preparing. You're preparing to ensure your computer isn't hacked. You're preparing for escape should a fire break out in your home, or to protect your financial interests should love end in divorce. It will not today. I love my wife, even though she's a 15 on a 10 scale of angry at Dan Bongino. You got to get My Patriot Supply. You insure everything in your life that matters. Your car, your home, everything, your teeth, eyeglass insurance. How do you not have his food supply secured? Folks, that's crazy. You have to insure your food supply. Same goes for building. It makes sense. It goes for building a food security plan. You cannot prepare for an emergency while the emergency is going on. I live in Florida. Hurricanes happen here all the time. The grocery shelves go barren like that. You show up to the local Walmart Paula, what do you think? Within 2 hours, is there a bottle of water left anywhere? No. She's saying no. Of course not. You can't find anything. You can't find food, nothing. All right. The best way to prepare is to prepare now with My Patriot Supply. I've been encouraging you to do this for years. They're a great sponsor. They make high quality products. A 2-week food kit. Emergency food kit's a must have. A great way to start. Order a few at the special price of only $75 when you go to preparewithdan.com. That's preparewithdan.com. These emergency food kits include meals that last up to 25 years in storage. 25. In Joe Biden language, 25 years in storage. I've got to stop that. I can wear a joke out like nobody else. Wear it out. 25 years in storage. This food will last for a long time. Prepare yourself so there are no surprises. Go to preparewithdan.com. Preparewithdan.com. Pick up a couple. You will not regret it. Please ensure your food supply. It only makes sense. Okay. Enough with Bernie. We've already lost 30 to 40 IQ points on Bernie. Hey, let me just point out one more thing. Some hypocrisy by another darling of the liberal left, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There was a piece up in the Washington Examiner. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Joe, blew Amazon out of New York in 2019 over tax breaks, but demanded one for herself in 2012 by John Gage, April 16, 2019. Again, Don't let any of that hypocrisy get in the way of telling us how AOC is a real warrior for the cause. She ran Amazon out of New York over a tax break. And then the story describes, this book company. And in this book company, she wanted to get a tax break. So you don't like tax breaks unless they benefit you. But again, the AOC support, it doesn't matter. That's not even. They were tweeting me all day because I have it up at Bongino.com too. This is a hypocrisy. Amazon's a big company and she's a small company and that tax break is different. Yeah, okay, whatever. Fine. You keep telling yourself that. That makes sense to you. I'm very sure it does. Your skull's like, what is that, about 4 inches? There's your skull. Your skull protrudes out to here. You got like a Martian helmet on. I got this laser thing, right, that helps me with my joints. Maybe this laser thing, it's like, does it help your brain activity too? My gosh. I may need to rescue brain cells. Matter of fact, we take a B12 shot. Right? That's the vitamin B12. Maybe it'll save some neurons after listening to Bernie and AOC today. We're on a roll today, Joe.
Yes,
I got an email. A supporter of the show was like, "Man, I love your show," but he thinks the mic, the mic here, he thinks it distracts from the show. I don't think it's the real mic. It's not like a prop, folks. This wire goes to an amp, and we record the podcast audio different. That's why it sounds different. The podcast for the videos right here. You see this little thing here? Sometimes you can see it. Yeah. So it's not a prop, and this is how we do the show. And I'm sorry if it bothers you a little bit, but he's like, some YouTubers don't like to see microphones. Hey, sorry, I love you, YouTube, but it's part of the show. It always has been. All right, final story of the day. CNS News, which does some really great reporting. I'll have this story in the show notes. More tax hysteria breaking out, Joe. The misinformation on what's going on with tax policy in the country is legion. Here's a piece by Terrence Jeffrey, who does a lot of phenomenal work on this topic. Joe, 150 million people filed it. Well, there were 150 million. Let me just say this correctly. There were 150 million tax returns filed, right, in this season? 50 million, a third of those filers, paid $0 or less in income taxes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to be clear, because you're talking, Bernie, we got to pay the fair share. The rich are not paying the fair share. It is all on the poor. Actually, Bernie, a third of people are paying no taxes at all. Listen, I get it. I know, Bernie's that you burn, feel the burn. I know you're not interested in facts and data, okay? I know that. But to the sane people out there who listen to my show, a third of people who file taxes, or a third of the filings, have no tax liability at all. And as a snapshot from this piece, this describes it right there. 33.4% were classified as non-taxable returns, meaning people who filed them paid $0 or less. Here's the kicker. It gets better. At the same time, Joe, 80% of all income taxes, in other words, 80 cents of every dollar of income taxes paid that year, were paid by tax return filers who had adjusted gross incomes of $100,000 or more. You got to pay your fair share. Okay, Bernie, so people who make $100,000 or more are currently paying $80 out of every $100 in income taxes. What is your fair share, Bernie? Let me tell you a story. I have this nail clipper, and this will clip a nail like no tomorrow. It's got a little pink ding on the side for the ladies, a little blue for the gents, and if you get a hangnail, this is the nail clipper for you. Bernie, are you ever going to answer the fair share? Let me tell you about this remote control. This will control this TV. This one, holy shit. All right, Bernie, thank you. Okay, we're clearly not going to get to the fair share thing. People making over $100,000 paid 80% of the taxes. Another portion of the CNS piece, another snippet from it. Was it? No, that wasn't. Sorry, that was all 2 points for saying. See, I'm confusing my wife. I'm confusing my wife, who is already a 15 and is clearly annoyed at my Bernie Sanders voice. We may be employing this often, to the chagrin of many others. Another piece. This is the tax misinformation segment. Matt Palumbo, my resident fact checker at Bongino.com, wrote a great piece. Will be in the show notes today. Please read it. Please support his work. By the way, he has a book coming out. What's the name of his book? Oh, man. Paula, do you remember the name of his book? I forgot the name of it. Hold on. Folks, I got to look this up because you please support Matt. This is a great book. Palumbo. I'm actually looking this up now in Amazon because it's really fantastic. Palumbo. See, what comes up? Spygate, the book he helped me research with. Hold on, folks. Listen, it's not a live show, but I treat it like a live show. Just give me a second because this is such a good book. And I want to give this. Here it is. Here it is. The book is called Debunk This, Shattering Liberal Lies. It is available on Amazon. This is an awesome book. I previewed a copy. I wrote the forward. Go check it out. Debunk This by Matt Palumbo. If you ever wanted to debunk arguments by your liberal friends, this is the way to go. Matt wrote a great piece. Most Americans believe this liberal lie on tax day. Well, he covers two specific things. Piece number one is that, well, we didn't get a tax cut. The Trump plan basically screwed us over. We're in the middle class and we're poor and we didn't get a tax cut. That is not true. As Matt points out in the piece and does a really good job, please read it. A better way to look at the Trump tax brackets and how they affected the rich and the poor would be to look at how it changed the distribution of taxes. Before the Trump tax cuts, the bottom 80% of earners paid roughly 33% of all federal income taxes. But ladies and gentlemen, they received 35% of the benefits from the Trump tax cuts. The bottom 80% received 35% of the benefits despite only paying 33% of all the taxes. The top 1% paid 27% of all federal taxes, but only received 21% of the tax cut, according to the center-left-leaning Tax Policy Center. The only people who ended up paying more due to the Trump tax cuts were those who had their deductions capped at $10,000 for state and local taxes. Those caps affected 8% of taxpayers, but most still saw net benefits from the tax cut. Folks, if you don't think you got a tax cut, the probability is you are wrong. The probability is high that you have been misled. Second point, that only the rich benefited from this. Matt brings up in his piece, which is a good one as well. I'm sorry, he's talking about the misinformation campaign. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to show you how the left is actually celebrating the misinformation campaign to get people to believe a few things. What we addressed in the CNS piece, that the middle class bear most of the tax burden. It's not true. The upper middle class and the wealthy do. Secondly, that the poor are being raked over the coals by our tax system. It's not true. 33% of tax filings, 50 million of them, show no income tax liability at all. The income tax cuts by Trump only benefited the rich. Not true. Just showed you that again. How the largest percentage of the tax benefits went to people at the bottom of the income spectrum there. 80% at the bottom 80%, not the top 1%. But look at this tweet by noted propagandist and gaslighter Matty Iglesias, who blocked me on Twitter, which is cool. I block everybody in the universe too at times. Matty Iglesias at Vox with a V, not F, not Fox, Vox. This is a left-leaning site. He's proud of himself. John Harwood, an NBC guy, tweets, no wonder the Trump GOP tax cut is so unpopular. Just 17% of Americans think their taxes were cut. That is not the case, folks. The overwhelming majority of Americans got a tax cut. Listen to Matty Iglesias tweeting this out. He's celebrating this, Joe. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes to give themselves credit for this kind of messaging success, but progressive groups did a really good job of convincing people that Trump raised their taxes when the facts say a clear majority got a tax cut. They love it. The left is celebrating the fact that they lied to you. Remember what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is telling someone a lie, your taxes weren't cut, saying it confidently, everybody knows your taxes weren't cut, and then repeatedly saying it while isolating people from the truth. The truth is the overwhelming majority of Americans, upwards of 80, 90% of them, did in fact get a significant tax cut. When you isolate people from the truth and you don't put that out there, of course they're going to believe your gaslighting lies. All right, folks, thanks again for tuning in. Please, again, pick up a copy of Matt's book. Sorry, I couldn't think. We went back and forth on the title a few times, and he's just putting the finishing touches on it. That was the only reason I couldn't remember it, but it's a fantastic book. Debunk This. He's a good friend. He writes great articles on the website. Debunk This, available on Amazon by Matt Palumbo. Go check it out. There's all kinds of tidbits of information like this you need to debate your liberal friends prior to the 2020 election. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. The visuals on the show may be a little bit different. We're going to have to jerry-rig some stuff, but we will be there for you for the Mueller Report. Don't worry. And please, check us out, youtube.com/Bongino. There's going to be a lot to talk about. Get ready, folks. Buckle up. It's going to be an interesting few days. See you tomorrow.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.